upon us now. It is October 1st. I feel like I should probably review some horror movies, and today I'm going to be starting off with one of my favorite movies of the year and one of my favorite horror films of the last few years. Let's get into it. Hey, what is up, you guys? It's me, Sam N0VA again. Today I'm reviewing the brand new horror film directed by Zach Cregger, Weapons. And this is one of the most hyped horror movies of the year. It was easily one of my most hyped movies of the year. And Weapons stars Julia Garner, Josh Brolin, Benedict Wong, Justin Abrams, Alden Ehrenreich. And Weapons is the second film directed by Zach Cregger, who I mostly know from Whitest Kids You Know. So when I heard he was getting really into horror movies, it really kind of surprised me because the only other movie he directed was Miss March, which, let's be real, Miss March is not that great of a movie. And I was definitely really interested with Zach Cregger's work with Barbarian. I saw Barbarian and I personally loved it. It was one of my favorite movies of 2022. And when I heard about Weapons, I was so hyped. The first teaser they released back in April, it was unsettling, it was creepy, and there was a lot of mystery left behind it. And when I heard all the stuff that had been going on around it, like apparently Jordan Peele lost the bidding war to get this film because he missed out and he pretty much didn't put enough, I think his producer didn't put enough money towards getting it. And from what I had heard, Weapons was actually supposed to be directed by Jordan Peele and was supposed to have a completely different cast. Like Pedro Pascal was supposed to be in it. I'm thankful he didn't, because nothing against Pedro Pascal, but anyways, I actually saw Weapons in theaters twice. I saw it opening weekend, and then I saw it a couple days later. And what did I think of it? Let's talk about the story. Okay, so now the story for Weapons takes place in a small Pennsylvania town called Maybrook, where suddenly, randomly at 2:17 in the morning, 17 school children went missing. They walked out of their homes and walked off into the middle of the night, where they were never seen again. And this leads a whole town to kind of be unsure and kind of horrified, like, where did their children go? And the blame is sort of thrown on Justine, played by Julia Garner, who is a third grade elementary school teacher, and all the kids that went missing were in her class, so a lot of the teachers are like, well, this is kind of, something must be wrong, because why, if it was only your class, why nobody else's? So she kind of gets thrown the blame. But as we see in the film, we follow the story of not just Justine, but we follow the story of a father named Archer Graff, who is very distraught at the thought that his son is missing. We also follow a police officer named Paul. We also follow a drug addict named James, and we also follow the school principal named Marcus, played by Benedict Wong. And we see these, and the thing is, throughout the film, we follow these different characters. The film is divided by chapters, where each part of the film we follow a different character, and they all intertwine with one another. Like in one scene, you'll see Archer, Josh Brolin's character, interact with Justine, and then we'll cut later on in the film where we see Paul's story, and then we cut to James's story, and then we cut to Marcus's. And the film is ultimately a mystery about all these people trying to figure out exactly where these 17 children went, and if they're okay, and where they possibly went. And let me just say, not everything is as it seems under the surface, and it is a very wild ride. Now, I'm going to be real, I love the story of Weapons. The story, it kept me guessing, it kept me engaged. It was scary as hell, because this is a horror film. There's some genuinely really unsettling things in this film, and there is a moment that happens when you follow Archer's chapter, Josh Brolin's character, that is so, this moment came out of nowhere, because it just got under my skin. And it is a crazy, crazy horror film. It's such a unique horror film, because we don't really see films like this that often. And the many twists and turns the story takes, it just keeps you guessing. And it's honestly a really effective horror film. And also it's quite emotional too, because this is a story very much about flawed people. Like, even Justine, who is the main character, has some trauma in her past, and also You could tell she has a bit of a drinking problem. James, he has a drug problem. Archer is very much a distraught father who is very much not happy at the sight that his son is gone. It's overall a really interesting film with its story, and it goes so many different places and has so many different themes that honestly it helps when you watch it more than once. I saw it twice in theaters, and I'm going to watch it definitely again when it comes out on streaming. And overall, I could say the story for Weapons is really good. Now let's move on to the acting. Okay, so now in terms of acting, I think everybody here did a really good job. I think Julia Gardner as Justine, I thought she was actually really good playing this really, like, dedicated but also very flawed teacher who, in many ways, she has some form of past trauma, and you can definitely tell all that. And I think Julia Gardner is starting to grow on me as an actress. I think the first movie I saw her in, I know she was in Ozark in that Wolfman movie that came out this year that everybody forgot about, but I thought she was really good in this, and she's also was pretty good, I thought, in Fantastic Four. She shows a lot of emotion, a lot of range. She has moments where she can be kind of like snappy and kind of like fight back. Like there's a whole scene where her and Paul have this moment where they're driving together, and it was like both funny because like you could tell she's like not in the mood for his crap at times. But I overall thought she was great. I thought Josh Brolin did a great job. He brought a lot of nuance and depth to the role. Like, there's a moment with Josh Brolin's character that really caught me off guard, where he was just like, it was like this one big moment happens, and he kind of was shocked and left horrified, and he sits there like, what the fuck? Like, it was genuinely really funny. My whole theater was genuinely, like, laughing their asses off. Another thing I gotta point out is Alden Ehrenreich. I thought he was really good in the film, too. Alden Ehrenreich as an actor, I hated him as Han Solo. I thought he was okay in Cocaine Bear. I did not see him in Ironheart. I heard he was pretty rough in that, but I thought he was actually really good. He played a very likable, but also very, trying to do his best character. In the film itself, he's trying to do what he thinks is best, his character, but he's just got a lot of problems and he can't really figure stuff out. He was overall really good. But I think one of the best performances of the movie was Justin Abrams as James. He played this really scummy, awful person, but something about him was just so entertaining. I loved them, but I absolutely despised him with his behavior. Like, there's a scene where he breaks in a car because he's trying to get that next high, and he breaks into a car in one scene, and he has a moment where he's like, he goes to a pawn shop, and he's like, come on, like, he did such a good job with it, and I gotta say, he was probably one of the best performances in the movie. Another one of my favorite moments in the film comes from Benedict Wong. If you've seen, there's a crazy scene, I won't spoil it, but it is just, you see the horror in his face, and it is crazy. I thought everybody here, the acting here was also very, very good, which is something that I'm thankful for, because I've seen a lot of horror movies this year that have really bad acting. I'm going to talk about another film in a second that Jordan Peele produced, but, anyways, the acting here was all around pretty top notch, and yeah, let's move on to the horror aspect, because this is a horror movie. Okay, so now, when it comes to the horror aspect of Weapons, this movie is pretty disturbing at times. Like, there is a whole scene where when you finally learn who the main villain is in the movie and what's going on, there's some genuinely unsettling moments, like especially involving Benedict Wong's character Marcus. There is a moment in this film where I was just like, oh god. It was horrific, it was disturbing, it was brutal. And there's also moments with the horror that are genuinely funny. Like, there's a whole scene in the film where, like, there's a lot of things happening and you're just like, what is going on? Like, there is a scene where a character has a dream and you see a giant assault rifle and you're like, what is that supposed to be? It's really unsettling, and there's a deeper messaging and themes behind it. I'm sure many people have analyzed it already, but I think this movie actually is really scary, and some of the imagery is just downright like, holy shit, I can't believe you just did that. Like, there is a moment at the end where my jaw hit the floor, But it was just, I was like, damn, like it was, I don't want to spoil it because it is one of the best parts of the movie, but it is so off the wall and so crazy that you gotta see it to believe it. It wasn't 28 years later out of nowhere insane, but it was like everyone in my theater was clapping and cheering. It was grotesque, but it was awesome. I thought this was a really suspenseful movie. But now let's move on to my final verdict, because I don't have too much left to say about Weapons, so let's get into the final verdict. Now, to end this review, would I recommend Weapons to you? Hell yes. This is by far one of my favorite movies of the year, and I am so thankful we are having like a bit of a horror movie renaissance, because in the late 2010s we were kind of having some pretty awful movies like, you know, The Nun, the Annabelle movies, like it's just, I'm so thankful we're back with horror. Like, with horror movies itself getting a redemption arc, it's great to see. And I'm very thankful we're finally getting, like, actual great original horror films. And I'm very excited to see what Zach Cregger does next. I think I've heard he's making the Resident Evil movie right now, which hopefully that's good, I hope. But anyways, that's my review for Weapons. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to check it out whenever it comes to streaming. I'm pretty sure it's going to come to HBO Max because it's Warner Brothers and they own the rights to HBO Max. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I know it was a little all over the place, but anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. And did you see Weapons? Let me know what you think about it in the comments. And I will see you guys next time.